Okay, so anyone else out there ever get totally overwhelmed by like all the options for user input when you're building something in Python?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially when you need something that's more than just a simple text box, But you don't want to go full on drop down menu either.
Right. Like finding that sweet spot can be a challenge. And that's actually what led us to today's deep dive, the Tkinter Spinbox.
Yeah.
And we're not just dipping our toes in, we're going deep with this one.
Deep dive is right. We found this gold mine of information on plus2net.com. It's at everything you need to know.
Seriously. By the time we're done with this deep dive, you'll be able to build these things in your sleep.
Well, maybe not in your sleep, but you'll definitely have a good grasp of it.
Okay, deal. No more sleep coding with spin boxes.
Yeah.
So let's start with the basics. What exactly is a spin box?
All right, so imagine you're building, say, like an online store, and users need to input a quantity for their order, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Now, a regular text box would force them to type in a number, which, people make mistakes.
Oh, for sure, typos galores.
Exactly. And that's where the spin box comes in. It gives you a way to control the input by letting you define a range or even a list of options.
Ah, so it's like setting boundaries but making it user-friendly at the same time.
Exactly. The user can just cycle through the values using those little up and down arrows, or they can type directly into the box if they want. So it's about making the experience smoother, but also making sure you don't end up with a bunch of weird data in your program.
Okay, so it's practical and stylish. But how do we actually make one of these things appear on the screen?
It all starts with Tkinter, which is like the bread and butter of Python GUIs.
Our trusty toolkit.
Right. So first things first, we import the Tkinter library.
Got it.
And then we actually create a Spinbox object. And it's literally as simple as writing Spinbox with parentheses. And then inside those parentheses, you specify where you want it to go within your application window and what range of values it should handle.
Okay, so far so good.
And the cool thing is that range doesn't have to be numbers. You can have a list of words too, like 1, 2, 3, whatever you need.
Oh, wow. So it's all about giving the user specific choices. I like that.
Yeah, it really helps to streamline things, both for the user and for your code. You don't have to write a million if-else statements to handle every possible input.
Okay, so we've got the basics down. We can create a spin box, give it a range of options. Fantastic. But what about making it look pretty? Because let's be honest, those default gray boxes can be a bit dull.
Yeah, no one wants their app to look like it's stuck in the Stone Age.
Exactly. So tell me more about how we can style these spin boxes to match our app's vibe. Let's get into the design stuff.
All right, so this webpage has a whole section on styling. We're talking fonts, colors, border widths, the work.
It's like a mini design studio just for our spin boxes. I'm seeing foreground, background, even border width mentioned here. Wow, we can even customize the thickness of the frame around it. That's pretty impressive.
It's all about having full control over the look and feel. And trust me, Tkinter gives you a lot of flexibility there.
Okay, this is exciting. We've gone from basic creation to making it look good. Now I want to know, can we make these spin boxes even more interactive?
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's where the fun really starts with something called the command option.
Okay, command option. It sounds we're about to unlock some next level Tkinter magic here. What's the deal with this?
So basically, the command option lets you connect a function to the Spinbox.
Okay.
So whenever the user changes the value in the Spinbox, that function you connected, it gets triggered automatically.
Oh, so it's like setting up a trap. The user thinks they're just changing a value, but bam, we're doing all sorts of stuff behind the scenes.
Nope, trap might be a bit strong, but yeah, it's about making things happen dynamically based on user interaction.
I like it. So what kind of things could we actually deal with this?
Oh man, tons of stuff. The webpage gives this example of using it to create interlinked Spinbox.
Interlink spin boxes.
Yeah, so imagine you have two spin boxes.
Okay.
One for a minimum value and one for a maximum value, like if you were setting a price range or something.
Oh.
And as the user adjusts one spin box, the other one automatically updates its range to stay consistent.
Oh, that's slick. So it's all about keeping things in sync and making sure the user doesn't accidentally break something.
Exactly. It's about creating that smooth user experience. But you know what else we need to talk about?
What's that?
Validation.
Oh, yeah, right. Making sure people don't enter bananas when we're expecting a number.
Precisely. We don't want our app crashing because someone typed in the wrong thing.
So how do we prevent that with spin boxes? Can we put up a force field around them or
A
something?
force field, haha. Well, not quite, but Tkinter has some built-in features for that.
Okay, tell me more.
There are these attributes called validate and validate command. and they let you control when and how the input gets checked.
But we can tell it to check like on every keystroke or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or you could check when the user clicks out of the spin box.
Got it.
And if the input isn't valid, you can either display an error message or just straight up reject it.
Oh, that's super helpful. I'm all about keeping things user-friendly, but also preventing those oops, I broke it moments. This is great. We've covered so much ground with spin boxes, creating them, styling them, making them behave. But I have a feeling there's even more to uncover, right?
You're right. There's one more thing we should definitely touch on. Dynamic updating.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
Okay, so remember how we talked about using a list to define the options in a spin box?
Yeah.
Well, that list doesn't have to be set in stone.
Wait, really?
Yeah, we can store it in a variable and then change the contents of that variable whenever we need to update the spin box.
Whoa, so it's like the spin box can adapt on the fly.
Exactly. So imagine you have one spin box where the user selects a country, and then you have another spin box that's supposed to show the cities in that country. With dynamic updating, you can make that second spin box automatically update its options based on what the user selects in the first spin box. Pretty cool, huh?
That's incredibly cool. I'm starting to see just how powerful these spin boxes really are. It's like we've gone from zero to hero in the world of Tkinter.
I wouldn't say zero to hero, but we're definitely getting there.
Okay, fair enough. But seriously, this is amazing stuff. We've gone from what is a spin box to how do I make one sing and dance? So how do we take all this knowledge and actually use it in a real project? Give you the goods.
Well, the beauty of it is that spin boxes are incredibly versatile. You can use them in all sorts of applications. Like, let's say you're building some kind of data analysis tool.
Okay, yeah, like a data visualization dashboard or something.
Exactly. You could use spin boxes to let users select date ranges, filter categories, even choose specific data points to display. It just makes the whole experience so much smoother.
No more fumbling with like clunky sliders or typing in endless parameters. I'm into it.
Right. And it's not limited to just data analysis either. Think about game development for a second.
Okay.
You could use spin boxes to let players adjust the difficulty level, choose the number of players, even make in-game decisions like how many resources to gather.
It's like giving players more control over their gaming experience. And visually, it's just more engaging than a bunch of boring checkboxes.
Exactly. It's all about finding those elegant solutions. And hey, we can't forget about those everyday apps we use all the time.
True.
Think about calendar apps, task managers, even something as simple as a unit converter. Spin boxes can make those everyday interactions so much smoother.
They really do just blend into the background and let you focus on what you're actually doing.
That's the beauty of them. They're powerful, but also incredibly user-friendly.
This deep dive has been eye-opening, to say the least.
Yeah.
We've covered so much ground, from what even is a spin box to how do I make one do my bidding. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners before we wrap things up?
You know, one thing that trips people up sometimes is those from and to attributes when you're setting a numerical range.
Oh, yeah, right.
Just remember, from is the starting point and to is the upper limit. It's a small detail, but it can make a big difference.
It's all about setting those boundaries clearly, right?
Exactly. But honestly, the best advice I can give is just to experiment. Dive into Tkinter, create some simple apps, and play around with spin boxes in different ways. Try out validation, dynamic, updating, styling. Just have fun with it.
I love that. We've taken something that could be pretty intimidating, all that code, and turn it into something approachable and, dare I say, exciting.
That's what we're here for.
So to all our listeners out there, the next time you're building a Python project and you need a user-friendly input solution, remember the Tkinter Spinbox. It might just be your new best friend. Until next time, happy coding, everyone.